Press the record button.
Yep, we're recording.
All right, so everybody be aware that this is a recorded meeting and it's an open meeting which is conducted by remote participation. There are no members gathering physically in one place. Members of the public are permitted to attend this meeting virtually by accessing the link which we published with the meeting notice. And a recording will be posted on the city's website as soon as we are able to do so. All our votes will be taken by roll call. That's the requirement for a virtual meeting. And I don't want to stifle anybody from speaking, but let's be generous with our mute button and try to keep the extraneous noise out of the meeting. So I see present, we have Amy Rillinger, director, we have myself, Charlie Oliver, we have Diane Mangiarotti, we have Beth Gould, we have Toby Reed, we have Tricia Svensson, Judy Lusk is excused, Cynthia Lawrence, and David Pierce is excused. So with that, I call the meeting to order. No guest doing, oh, Joseph is here, I see. So our assistant director is present. Thanks, Joseph. First thing to do is to have a look at the meeting minutes from last month. I'm sorry that they were late. We both overlooked sending them out to you, so sorry for that. Did everybody get a chance to look at them? If you did not, please hold your hand up. Okay, Beth, take a couple of minutes and have a look. Hold your hand up when you're ready. Okay. Are there any corrections, edits, additions, deletions, fixes for the minutes as you read them? Diane?
I don't know if this is appropriate, but the technology lab report, I read, and when we, the gentleman that we worked with, Baptiste, I think, and
Baptist, yeah.
and Sensata, did we decide at all to like send some kind of a thank you note or anything for the donations and for his help? Is that appropriate to add right now? And I should have said it back when we were in the meeting before, but.
That's a yes. I did talk to Carrie Sylvia yesterday on my way out of the library, and she is obtaining a gift from all of us, which is volunteer recognition, and that will be presented to him at an appropriate time in the near future. We're hoping to have a kind of a ribbon cutting towards either the end of the month or beginning of November, and we will recognize him at that point. And we will also recognize him when we have a community-wide celebration. I was thinking this afternoon, we're going to need some appropriate signage in the tech lab acknowledging our donors. And I think part of that signage needs to include Jack for his extensive donation of time and energy on our behalf. Nobody else could have done that I know of, and it was invaluable. We couldn't have gotten this far without him. So that's a yes, and we will take care of it and make sure that he receives our appreciation. Anything else on the minutes? Okay, hearing no corrections, I will accept the minutes as presented. And the next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. So Mahesh, take it away.
Okay, Amy has presented a warrant number 3. If you can go through it, the total amount comes to, there's two parts, $8,473.07. And there's $8,000 for the, our accountant, that we paid last month. So if there any questions, anybody?
Yeah, I have an explanation on the accountant charges. So if you have questions on any other line item, now's the time to deal with them. Okay, hearing none. Give you some history. The $8,000 accounting fee is the charge for the accountant's independent review of 2 fiscal years. We had a double report, so it was twice the normal freight. It was for 2018 and 2019. We got behind on our reviews when our previous treasurer was ailing. So this is some catch up. I will tell you that in fiscal year 2018 and 2019, we had $4,000 budgeted in each of those years to pay the accountant. And we did not spend that money because we didn't have the work done. So in effect, those 2 years contributed $4,000 of surplus to our funds. And this year, I think it's right to charge this invoice in our current fiscal year, 2022. We'll go over budget in that line item, and the budget may be overspent overall, but I'm not concerned about that because of the previous year's savings. So is that clear to everyone, and do you have any questions about it? Okay. Looks like everybody's good on that, Mahesh. Carry on.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so the total cost, I mean, if you take $8,000 out for the check that we paid last month, and it was included in the warrant number 2. So we have a total of $3,652.17 that we need to pay this month.
Okay. 3652.17, is that right?
Correct, yeah,
Okay, and you want to have that transferred from Rockland Trust?
correct, please, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions on this? Okay, what, do you have our balance in the checking account?
The balance is $4,851.79 as of today.
Okay, and according to the bylaws, we should also be reporting on the balance of Rockland Trust. I didn't think about that until I was looking at the draft of the new bylaws. And that balance is $1,793,514, $1,793,514 as of yesterday. So, any other financial business? Okay.
Charlie,
So-
Just,
Yes.
Can I
I
just
just
make a-
want,
sorry.
go ahead, Amy.
As a quick adjustment to the budget page that was sent out. We have somebody subbing in for Carol's last day was October 1st, who normally prepares these reports. We had somebody subbing in, and it looks like they used an old spreadsheet for the report. So the total of the trust budget for this year on the report that you were sent out says $70,000, when in fact it is $77,000. So that will be adjusted next month.
Okay, yeah, we did note that last month, and we certainly understand the extenuating circumstances. So yeah, we did find more money to boost the budget and found a place to put it. So,
We're swapping computers and swapping logins, so I think that that is just the issue, but I've got notes to all of us to correct that.
great, awesome. Okay, I would then like to have a vote. I'd like to have a vote too, but I sold mine. I'd like to have a vote to approve the warrant number 3 as presented and to transfer the sum of $3,652.17 from Rockland Trust into the checking account. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, so I have to do a roll call vote here. Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Mrs. Mangiarotti.
Yes.
Mrs. Gould,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. Svensson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay, so that is passed unanimously. Let's see. Okay, that takes care of the treasurer's report. Time to hear from the director. Amy?
Sure. I did do a written report like I normally do. I'll send it to you after the meeting. Just to quickly hit some highlights of the last month. Big Read is going as well as it can be amidst renovations and pandemic. And sometimes things are virtual and sometimes things are in person. We were talking before the meeting got officially started that there was a poetry walk at Oak Knoll earlier this month. It was so well received. There's wonderful pictures on our Facebook page. And also we learned that Oak Knoll is going to keep up the poetry along their trail for the entire year. So they have permanent cases along the trail to the lake that right now include one poem by Joy Harjo and another poem by an Attleboro public school student. We had those students read their work at the walk, but now people can go and view it on their own for an entire year. And Oak Knoll is going to continue with the upkeep of that and do some programming and education around it. Coming up, there's a poetry reading at Bristol Community College tomorrow evening. You can go in person or you can watch from the comfort of your home on Zoom. And then David and I will be at the farmer's market on Saturday, handing out books as well as selling tickets to the finale dinner that was just finalized today, as a matter of fact. So we're going to do a takeout dinner on Thursday night, October 28th. You'll be able to order tickets, purchase tickets ahead of time, and just pick up your meal at the high school on that night, take it home and enjoy it. And possibly attend the Literacy Center's My American Journey event, also on Zoom.
As far as being at the farmer's market, it doesn't have to be just Amy and David. If anyone else would like to be present, I'm sure that would be welcome, right?
Absolutely. Last year we had a wealth of volunteers. So there's the two of us for the length of the time. But if somebody is shopping at the market and wants to hang out for a bit, we'd really welcome that. David and I can do our shopping while we're there. So the Big Read is we're getting really great feedback from the events. The turnout isn't always what we hope for, but the people who are coming are just saying marvelous things about how meaningful it is, especially to go on the walks. We had someone say that they've just been stuck inside. They don't feel comfortable going to indoor events. They don't feel comfortable going to things alone. But then they know that when they come to these events, they're going to find like-minded people. They're going to see library staff. And it's really been heartwarming to hear. And of course, we met some new folks at the reading and then at the Land Trust just this past weekend, which is wonderful. Next on my list is building update. So we're so close to opening. We really thought we would be open today. when we do reopen, which likely is Monday, we're planning on doing some curbside service tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. But we are not making any grand announcement until those doors are actually open. So it's going to be a soft opening. We are still a construction zone. There are still windows that need to be replaced. There's still some final work that needs to get done. The benches under the historic windows in the marble lobby need to be stained. There's some vents that are hung from the ceiling on the second and third floors that need to be painted. The large windows on the second floor that overlook the literacy center, they're at the end of the fiction stacks. They're the sort of the worst windows because they're fogged over. Those will not be replaced until December at the earliest. The balconies still have to be attached to the building. So there is still work going on, but we will be able to open the building very soon. And the project is almost substantially complete. It was the phrase they use. But I will tell you that while we were closed to the public and not doing curbside service, the staff just went nuts, and we have made some really fabulous changes inside the building. And so when you come in, those cubbies that are on the right-hand side of the lobby are new. So we still have the book nook, but then the second nook is the video game collection, which has sort of been hidden behind the stairs in the holds area. So we have one whole cubby that is dedicated to video games for adults and teens. It's in a much more visible place. And then the next cubby, the final cubby, is our entire Spanish collection. So books, magazines, movies, everything we have. Formerly, that collection was up on the third floor in literally the furthest corner from the door. So if you were looking for Spanish language materials, you had to go to the floor with no staff. You had to find it in the dark corner. It is now front and center, first floor with plenty of staff to help you. We're super excited about this. You're going to see it in our next newsletter and on our Facebook page because it looks gorgeous. And to achieve that, we had to move all of the Blu-rays and movies that were downstairs all up to the third floor. So now on that third floor, when you get to the top of the stairs, you start with the music CDs and then the movies. And that means documentaries, it means TV series, it means feature films, it means Blu-rays, all of those things that were separate collections are all in one place. And then the audiobook. So we have this whole AV section all in one place. We're very excited. This was a huge effort on the buyers' parts. They had to do a lot of weeding and really hanging on to what they felt was most valuable to the community and letting a few things go. And then just the physicalness of, there's special shelves you need. So people were scrambling around the library, like, do you have shelves with backs? I'm taking them for this. And just carts and carts of things that had to be moved. They did a fantastic job. So much cleaning. So we're pretty excited about that. I'll talk later about celebrating all of this success other than with, brownies in the staff room. Next up, little free libraries. Remember, Mr. Guhan was here a few months ago. He hopes to be turning over those little free libraries to us and to the Parks Department later this month. It's been tricky fitting our schedules with a senior and high school schedule right now, but we'll get there. So those are coming. We do have hopes of writing a cultural council grant before the deadline this Friday. That's coming up. The long range plan. I've talked to the folks at the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, and they told us, don't worry, your current plan is good until the end of the fiscal year. If you decide to apply for one of the MBLC grants before our new one is complete, they'll grant us an extension. They said, just keep going, doing what you're doing. They understand that it is a challenge to write this strategic plan when we are in the midst of the weeds here. And speaking of the MBLC, our ARIS report, which is a yearly report of all that we've done over the year, has been submitted, and then quickly followed by the financial and compliance report, which Carol completed just before she retired. Due to a budget that was just under $1,200 short of what we needed, we thought we were going to have to apply for a waiver. But because of the renovation project and some things that had to happen with the E-rate, the city council just last week voted to give us $7,500 to help with patching of the walls for the E-rate project. And that means no waiver needed. We're good to go. So now we rescind our application for the waiver, and we're in good standing with the state. That waiver is what we need to be able to receive state aid. We've applied for them before. We've never been denied a waiver, but it is anytime you submit an application, it's always a little nerve-wracking, but we're all set. And we learned a lot about what we need to do for next year. So both myself and the city's budget administrator learned a lot about how the process should work going forward. Next category is programs. As you can imagine, the Zoom programs are not quite as well attended as we would like, but the make and take kits are going well, and there certainly are people still attending our programs. It's, there's some grumbling about it, but it's the next best thing to being in person with library staff and getting together with book club friends and the English language learning circles, things like that. We do have our next Neighbors in Dialogue event happening at the end of the month, and we will be talking about the challenges to voting and accessibility to voting. Most of you should have received an email about that just today. And then finally, staffing. So we had a visit from Katie Butler's baby today. Everyone is doing well, and she expects to be back mid-December. And her sort of second in command, not including Joseph, who is like the de facto Katie right now, she's got 2 senior circ assistants. One of them has been out on extended sick leave, but she came back for the first time today. So the, Carrie McLaughlin and Cheryl Liddell will be taking over for her for a bit. And then we've hired a new person in the business office her name is Cindy McDonough, and she will be starting on Monday. And we'll be interviewing reader services coordinators starting on Friday. So we hope to have that person in place relatively soon as well. So we're getting there. We've talked about Paul Dion has come back. I think that is it. Those guys. And yeah, I did gather statistics. I will include that in my written report for you all. They're about as good as they can be considering what our last few months have been. We have not kept track of how many people have asked when we're opening. Had we been doing that, the statistics, they would be sky high. But all in all, we're doing pretty well. I think, Joseph, I think you'd agree. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a wild and crazy month. I hesitated to even check up on Amy because I didn't want to stop her forward momentum. I know she was dealing with all kinds of things, and it's not that I didn't want to know. It's just that I didn't want to get her off the track. So, thank you, Amy and Joseph and all of the staff, but especially you two in command who really weathered some incredible storms. And I know how frustrating it was to be so close to being complete and open to the public and then having to suddenly change that with 20 minutes notice. And Substantial completion scheduled for the end of September, and then it had to be pushed back till this coming Friday. A lot of things going on. The building team is working really, really hard to get themselves out of here and let us open the doors. So, stuff happens, and some did. Right now, I think, we're waiting on handrails for the new stairs. That's one thing. So, until we get those, people will have to go in via the handicap walkway, which should not be a problem. However, the door openers, the button that you push to open the automatic doors, isn't in yet. So it sounded from this Tuesday's meeting like that would happen this week. If they say this week, I always like to think, okay, well, let's assume next week and hope that it's better than that. But I think once that's in place, then, we're going to have to put up with 3 windows that were measured incorrectly and fabricated incorrectly. Those have been reordered, and those will be fixed in December. That's the plan right now. A couple of other little odds and ends, like the lockout for getting up to the 4th floor in the elevator, that was not put in, so that has to be retrofitted and will happen sometime soon. I don't know when sometime soon is, but it's in the works. I think that's pretty much all of the major obstacles that I can remember. Amy, anything else you can think of?
No, and the automatic door was installed today.
Ah,
So we're closer than we thought we would be.
that's good. Okay. And the Tech Lab project seems to be virtually complete. I think if I'm not mistaken, we're still waiting to put one access point in the Balfour room. When everything is out of there, that's kind of the last holdout for the building crew. Once they've vacated that, put the ceiling back in place, we'll put that last component in. But the system is functional and working beautifully. The donated computers are actively being upgraded by the city's IT people and coming online one by one. That's happening. I saw, they were working on Amy's when I was in yesterday, and then I stopped in to see Carrie. There was one more step, I think, to get her laptop up to speed. It's all coming together, and the firewall is in, which is already filtering, although we don't have anybody to come in and be filtered. So, but the system is up and running. The bills are in hand. We had one little snafu in paying the bills, which is internal, not anything related to the vendor, but that is in motion. So good news all around. A little bit more patience is required, but not much. So that's all I can say to supplement what Amy's told you about the building projects. Any questions for Amy before we move on?
I have a question. Will having windows installed in December cause more disruption, do you think? Is it going to just be one room and it could be blocked off, or what?
So the windows are located at the end of the fiction stacks. Right, so the ones that overlook the little mini parking lot behind the literacy center. I'm guessing that they will just block off that little row where the study carrels are. I remember, it feels like 6 months ago. It feels like so long ago. I think that's what they did when they were working on them before. And a lot of that work, yeah, it'll interfere a little bit, but not nearly what we've been through. And cutting ceilings and walls, and it's really just windows. The worst of the things have been like they cut through a wall and what's in the wall is not what they thought was in the wall, and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
It's not going to be one of these things that causes us to close the doors for a day or something.
Yep.
And as far as replacement of windows, they've been popping those things in really quickly. They're ordered to fit. They fit in the slot. They caulk them and secure them, and they're on to the next thing. So I don't think that's going to take them particularly long to complete.
Good.
Anything else for Amy? Beth, are you raising your hand or just contemplating? Okay. Okay. Very good. I guess I could add that we attended the Municipal Building Commission meeting, which was Wednesday of last week. And the so-called substantial completion was voted to be this Friday, right? So that's a big step. It means that, the pressure's on. The meter is running for the contractor to get the work done and get out, or it's going to be, on his budget. So this is all good. And I think that the overall assessment of how this project went between the various arms of the city and the work team and the project management and so forth was that it's a pretty good process. We were all very complimentary of how it went, and I did express on behalf of all of us our appreciation for the way the project was handled by the city, and also for the fact that it was handled not as a large maintenance project, but as a restoration with an eye toward preserving the historic and the aesthetic aspects of the building. And really, you could see that philosophy was permeating every aspect of how this was handled. So I think we should be proud of that and pleased that this city took that approach. So that's all I'll say on the building. Let's move on to unfinished business.
Just to confirm, you'd like to hear the song Unfinished Business?
Did anybody hear that?
No.
That was my remote device, whose name I will not say because she'll light up, and she heard something I said, and there's a song by that name, and she's going to play it. Alexa, stop. That's never happened before. All right, so the first thing under that category is SIPA, which is the Child Internet Protection Act. I think I've said that right. I sent you out late today a one-pager on the SIPA requirements that we have to comply with. It's pretty simple read if you haven't read it already. I suggest you do. It has some requirements for us as to what we do with the internet going forward. First of all, we have to prepare an internet safety policy. So I am going to charge the staff with doing that by the 1st of December to come up with a written policy that we can present to the board for its approval on the December 8th meeting. Amy, is that okay?
Yes.
I know that we've already talked a lot about it. It will write itself, I believe. We have gone through an evaluation of various filters that we could install in our firewall, and that we as a technology team and staff came to an agreement on that, and it's already up and running. So what needs to follow is a policy for our policy manual, and then we need to present that to the public in a forum. A public forum. We only have to do this once in our lifetime, but we have to do it. I'm proposing that we do it in January. I'm proposing that we might look at January 20th, if that works on the library's calendar. That's a Thursday. Would it be best to do it on a night when the library is open? Amy, is that a good suggestion, or is it a bad idea?
No, that's a good suggestion, and we presumably will be open an option of, we will be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, so we'll have options.
Okay, all right. So we'll fine tune that, but let's tentatively aim for January 20th. It's a public forum. We have to invite the public via any reasonable means. We certainly have reasonable means. We can put a notice in the paper, we can put it in our library newsletter and put it on the website. And I think we've more than covered our bases to do that. And I think that's it. We need to accomplish that by June 30th is the way I read the deadline. We were funded on July 1st. So we've got a year after that date to, take care of this process. That's the last step. It may be a non-event, so be it. It may be, who knows, it might be wild and crazy, but we will be prepared. I will oversee the planning for that meeting. And any questions on that? Everybody understand what we're doing and why we have to do it? Okay, it's a requirement to be eligible for E-rate funding. Okay, if we're good with that, the next item of unfinished business is to review the bylaws. I sent out to you, I guess, the whole package. What we really have left to review is Article 4 through 7, which is the end. And I think,
Charlie,
yes,
I'm wondering if it would be better if we could take this up in person next, our next meeting in November. Hopefully we'll be at the library. I think you have more discussion when people are sitting at a table around, from each other and communicating. Just a suggestion, I think, and it'd be easier to read everything, I think, than some people may not have the copy in front of them at home.
yeah, and it's hard to look at both the meeting in progress and pulling up something that you haven't.
I mean, we've
printed out.
waited,
So,
we've delayed it a couple of months. I don't think another month is going to make much difference. It would be much better in person, I think.
I can't disagree with you. Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
Did anybody have any comments on what I sent out before we move on? Okay, all right. We will table that. That's a good suggestion, Diane, and you are entirely right. That would be much easier to discuss around a table. Okay. Well, that's made short work of that. Celebration planning, I guess, is the next thing we have under unfinished business. So really, this is a kind of a two-pronged approach, I believe. I think the building team needs to have a party. And I think that they need to do that sooner rather than later. I think we should plan to have some kind of a ribbon cutting and a gathering of anybody that can be there. I know the project manager and the architect particularly are itching to do this, as well as the chairman of the Municipal Building Commission, Jack Jacoby. So we need to get that off the ground. I sat with Amy yesterday, and we will try to plan that internally without dragging in too many bodies, and have something to announce shortly on that front that we would like to have either the end of this month or the beginning of November, probably November after Big Read is done. Anything to add to that, Amy? We've got to get the mayor and everybody on board, and then we will gather and let you know what's about to happen. Did I see your hand, Diane?
Oh, no.
Okay, sorry. So know that that's underway. We talked also, as we did last month, about gathering around a table with all kinds of stakeholders to plan a citywide celebration. We've talked about the possibility of it being over several days, about it including some tours, about bringing on board the local access cable company to perhaps produce a little video presentation which we can show online to people who can't be here, or it could be broadcast on the television station as well. But we need to get people around the table. We need to make it happen. So I have to delegate that to Amy to pull the troops together, but we need to do it soon. And I think that any volunteers from the trustees who would like to participate in that process are more than welcome. Encouraged, even. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
Amy, anything you want to add to that?
Nope, just that, yeah, looking forward to it. And it'll be, yeah, I'm really looking forward to a party.
Indeed.
Yeah, Amy, are you looking something particular from the board to help you with?
No, I mean, I guess a general idea, I assume there'll be food and some music and, just something. So I certainly don't want to be in charge of picking that stuff. I would rather cast a broader net. So
I'll
what folks
invite
think?
the friends to be on board in this
Yeah.
process. So anyway, that's what we're talking about now, but we need to make it happen. We need to get a gathering, hopefully this month, so that we can start the process. And we'll look toward early December as the time to pull this off. Be nice if the windows were in by then, but if not, so we'll paint a pretty face on the plywood. But, okay, any more on that subject? Then the next thing I have is accounting changes. We talked last month about a new person coming on board to fill Carol's slot, and that has happened or is happening. That person is QuickBooks literate. Mahesh and I met with our accountant to set up a QuickBooks chart of account and a plan of action, and that is underway. Mahesh, you don't know this yet, but I have signed us up for QuickBooks. I have
Good.
the license. I'll get you the sign-in information. My task is to put together a rudimentary chart of accounts and pass that by you and the accountant for your blessings. And then the hope is that we can take fiscal year 2020 and enter
Yeah.
that data on the system as a test. Assuming that goes well, we'll shortly follow with 2021, according to when our treasurer is able to pull it off. We'll be working with the accountant throughout this process so that we can simplify the whole process of doing annual reviews. We'll also, once we feel we're comfortable with what we have and we don't need to fine tune it further, we will present this to the new financial officer, the new Carol, and make sure that she is up to speed on how to do this. And eventually we'll pass the torch. I think that we're going to find simpler ways to do things, not just the accounting function, but some of the other things that have been going on in the back office. I believe once this is implemented, will become suddenly simpler. So we're looking forward to that. Anyway, I just wanted you to know that, we've paid the freight. We've taken the plunge, and it's starting up now. I don't think you'll see much other than an update at meetings for the next few months, but know that that's happening. Any questions on that? Okay. And then Is there any other new business that we need to bring up?
Charlie, I just wanted to quickly mention what we talked about the other day on, if those of you who saw our Facebook and website, we closed for Indigenous Peoples' Day this year, which normally we have a Columbus Day sign. There was a little bit of flack online. The Sun Chronicle posted an article about like the difference between Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples' Day. And someone who has criticized the library before went on a little rant about us, the liberal left, destroying American history, and who does Amy Rillinger think she is, and the library board should put a stop to this. I screenshotted it in case anybody wants to see. It is, I talked to Charlie about it. I talked to the mayor about it. No one is particularly concerned. We felt that during this time in the world, and because we are discussing the story of Native Americans during the big read, it really felt like it was time to say Indigenous Peoples' Day and help educate folks. And so that's what we did. And I just want everyone to know that I saw that, and it's out there, and we actually are getting a lot more support of other people saying library does a wonderful job of educating people and welcoming the community and doing whatever they can. So that really is the end result, but I did want to just put it out there to you all.
I may have missed something over the last 5 or 6 years, but I don't remember us sitting around and talking about social justice issues or how we were going to go on any kind of a crusade. So that can be recorded in the minutes. We did not do anything of the sort. We are not trying to rewrite history. I note that both Columbus Day and Columbus Day is a national holiday, and the president declared that again for this year through proclamation, as did he proclaim that it is a federal government holiday for Indigenous people on the same day. So it is a matter of semantics. The point was to get the information out that we would be closed on a particular day. If we offended somebody in the process, we apologize for that. But this is not some kind of a liberal left movement to rewrite history or somehow change the world. That's not our concern. Our concern is to run the library. And personally, I think we have the most fantastic person that we could have chosen sitting in the director's chair right now. And I'm sorry that you have to absorb flack from time to time from segments of the population, but you have my support, and I'm sure the support of everybody on this board, and it will pass.
Thank you. Yeah. The mayor's response was the same. It's a federal holiday. Keep doing, just be closed on the holiday. Keep doing what you're doing.
Anyone else have a comment? Okay, any other business that anyone would like to bring before the gathering? All right, well, thank you for a good meeting. The next meeting is November the 10th. Hopefully, I'm not lying to you when I say it will be live and in person. We'll sit around the table and have a traditional old meeting. So I wish you all well. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your participation as always. And I'll adjourn the meeting. Have a good evening, everyone.
Yep, goodbye now.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Charlie.
Bye.
Thanks, Mahesh. Bye, Diane.
Bye.